Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Damn Podcast. This intro is going to be a little bit different than the other ones because I'm not going to give a full intro of the person as I kind of do it in the start of the episode. I expected not to do that, but I did. This episode was really, really good. We spoke about his origins as a battle rapper, how he feels about writing music, battle rappers being told that they can't make music, these sorts of things as well. We spoke about some of his past battles, his favorite battle that he's ever done, these sorts of things as well. I'm going to keep this very, very short because I want to release all of these episodes onto YouTube now. And so I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go from the latest episode. I'm going to do the 18 and I'm going to do 17 and 16, blah, 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 blah. Some of them might actually be missed out completely. I'm not entirely sure yet, but we will see. Either way, I hope you really enjoyed the episode. Please let me know if there's anything that you want me to add, like little animations or whatever the hell in the middle of episodes for specific things. If you want to find out any information about this, however, you can go to konr.work/DAM all caps, and then on there, when the audio is released, there will be a little card for every single episode, including this one, and it will have things like social links and things like that, and anything that I've probably mentioned in the episode, including some information about the guest. There's some upcoming guests I'm going to have on as well. I'm going to have Frack on soon. Frack is incredible. Also, been trying to get that locked in for a little while. We just haven't managed to line up our schedules. I've got a few other people as well in the tuck that want to hop on, and those will be very, very soon as well. So I hope you really enjoy it. Thank you very much. See you later. Oh, right. So the thing's already fucking recording that's in the channel, so I get the fucking audio files afterwards. That's sick. Cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to say sick. I know it's a bad term to use right now in front of you.
PTSD.
Yeah. But yeah, fucking, it's been a long time coming. I'm not gonna lie. We've been trying to line this up for fucking ages, as well as with Frack as well. I've got to do one with Frack. I think we're maybe gonna do that on Tuesday. But yeah, welcome on, bro. Appreciate you popping on.
What up, man?
For anyone that doesn't know, that is hopping in right now, this is Illmac. He is a legendary battler and rapper in general from Portland. He was fucking incredible and at the top of battle rap so long ago. He was 17, I believe, when he won Scribble Jam. And then a few years later with the Saurus won the World Rap Championships in 2 different years as well, and has just been at the top of battle rap since that point. So generally a very, very well-known person in battle rap, but also makes incredible music. Some of my favorite albums ever that he's released are his Sprng and the whole Seasons one in general, but Sprng is my favorite, I think. And Winter is coming soon, so pay attention to that. But yeah, welcome on, bro. How you doing?
What up, man? I'm good. Yeah, we've been talking for a minute. It's good to finally make it happen. You know what I mean? Appreciate you.
But yeah, I just want to kind of like, the way that this generally goes, it's not like I have like a list of things necessarily, although I do have a few things I wrote down just so I don't forget, because I do want to ask you a few things. But generally, it's just like a candid conversation. So like, generally, number one, I would like to ask, what do you think about this recent beef between your good friend Daylight and Joey Badass? Who do you think is ahead right now, and why haven't you jumped in to help your good friend? What the fuck?
I haven't listened to any of the disses.
You haven't?
Nah. I just don't care. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
I get it.
But it's like the bag I've been in. It's like I hardly have been like listening to like real, you know, rapidy, like real rap music lately. I've been listening to more like, I don't know, like alternative hip hop and kind of genre bending music or whatever, just because listening to stuff that I feel like I'm learning something from, or like different skill sets other than my own. You know what I mean? So I haven't like had the real interest. Like even with the last big rap beef with Kendrick and Drake, I like heard Push Ups when it first dropped. I think Chase played it in the car, and then I didn't really care enough to listen to anything else. Of course, we all had our minds pounded by Not Like Us at every turn online. So it's like I heard that. It was crazy. But yeah, I just haven't been in like really caring about rap beefs like that, really, or invested in any of it. You know what I mean?
That's fair enough. I think you should definitely check it out at some point though, just to see what you think, kind of thing. Because I'm a big battle rap fan, obviously, so I kind of thought that Daylight would smoke him, and I don't think he did. So that's kind of surprised me a little bit.
That's what I've been seeing. That's what I've been seeing online.
Like he started off kind of mid, Joey did. It wasn't bad, but it was a good song, but it wasn't like, when you're like used to hearing like punches from battle rappers. It's a little bit more like, I don't know, you hear something that someone has said to Daylight a million times already, and you just like, whatever. And that was kind of how the first one went. Although it was a decent song, or not song, but like
Mhm.
his little decipher they did, it was good. But like,
Oh, I seen clips from that online. Yeah,
yeah,
I
with
seen some
like
clips from that.
fucking Big Sean and whatnot. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it was good. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, later on he got even better. I was very surprised to hear that. When you say that you know, you've been listening to other stuff, that's something that you have brought up before, like where sometimes you go like through phases of just not listening to music like your own necessarily, like not like any rap related shit. And you also do a thing, I believe. Do you still do this, where you read a book before every battle?
Yeah. Yeah. With this last one, it was a couple. I'll also go back through books I've read that I just find inspiring as far as like strategic thinking and breaking things down. Like this is a go-to of mine. And it's like I'm constantly rereading certain chapters. But yeah, Robert Greene, The 33 Strategies of War.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain things that like chapters I've just read over and over, but I'll pull something different from. It'll give me inspiration. Uh yeah, like my third round versus Rum, I wrote it in one sitting pretty much right after I read a chapter about Queen Elizabeth essentially delaying the war with Spain and like biding time and then moving small, doing little, basically it's called like economy of movement, or be economic with your resources. And so she
Mm-hmm.
was biding time and essentially took the battlefield to where she was, her and Britain were comfortable with these like real, it was more strategery. And it like the chapter's long or whatever, but in general it's like it made me think like lean into my strengths, you know what I mean, don't meet him on his battlefield. And that's when I ended up writing the third round kind of in one sitting or whatever, but there's jewels in it. But yeah, every battle I'll tend to either I'll read at least one new book, but I usually it's a couple, and I'm going back into things I've already read and kind of giving myself reminders.
Gotcha. I mean, I've listened to that book. I haven't read it, but I don't have it physically. But I've listened to the audio one a few times. I would say there's like, it's kind of like a manual on how to manipulate people a lot of the time. But like there's
Yeah.
moments where it has like good points. I would say, in fact, a lot of moments it has good points. It's not like wrong, but it just feels like when I'm listening to it, I'm a bit like, are you teaching me how to like be a bad person here? I don't know.
Yeah, I think the 48 Laws of Power is even more in that lane. But with this, though, when I'm reading it, it's like I'm reading it with battle rap in mind. So it's like everything I'm reading is like, how can I, use this to manipulate the battlefield of an actual battle?
Gotcha.
And how I write, how I approach, how I attack, all those things. But in general, yeah, you're right. I'm not like a Robert Greene like fanboy in terms of like I want to live my life like the 48 Laws of Power. Like I had a line referencing that I think on Sangria Sunsets.
Mm-hmm.
But it in general, I do like his style of writing, in the way that he'll say a principle and then give all these historical
Examples, yeah.
examples. And the stories throughout history that he references are like super interesting. So I like it for that. But yeah, I kind of only usually am in the battle mind when I'm reading material more like that.
Gotcha.
Or The Art of War, or what's something else I read ahead of this battle. um yeah, those types of books. I think that's I'll use it for battle fodder. Use it to think strategically like that. But yeah, the whole like dark psychology and manipulation of people is not a way I look to
Yeah.
learn and live my life in general.
It's like,
You know what I mean?
you can research like Darwinism and stuff, but you're not exactly saying that, survival for the fittest, of the fittest rather, is a good thing. It's not like don't live your life by that. That is just a thing that happens in nature, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that the 40 Loads of Power especially, I remember thinking like, this is effectively like, even though it's as if it's teaching you how to be a bad person, it's also kind of teaching you what to expect from other people too, and how to deal with it, right?
I liked it for that. I liked it for that, because I can like you look at the way the world works around you, power dynamics in general, whether it's at your job or in in the industry, whether hierarchy, you know, how people negotiate in battle rap, all these things you can, it makes you aware a little bit of what's going on, even if they don't necessarily realize what they're
Yeah,
doing. You
yeah,
know, you
cause,
kind
'cause
of have more labels for it.
yeah, it's a lot like of human nature stuff, not necessarily like a conscious thing someone's doing. Yeah, so it's like I agree. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's dope for that. We just watched You versus Soul prior to that one, by the way. That was the battle we watched just beforehand.
Oh, nice.
One of my favorite battles of all time. Love that fucking battle.
Yeah, love
And
that battle, man.
Soul actually did very, very well too. Like even though he obviously choked at one point of the battle, he the first two rounds was like just after watching it just then, surprisingly good, man. And I think I
He's
remembered you
really
just
good.
smoking him, but to be honest, I think the first round was pretty close. Now that I've just watched it
Hmm.
again, but yeah, I think like your um your scheme about Soul and then like ending every round with exactly what you don't have and
Yeah,
um
yeah.
the oh yeah, I wrote one down that I wanted to bring up. The when you said that when the pressure's close, got notorious for defending a choke. That shit was fucking bananas. After talking about he's a fan of Conor McGregor and whatever, fucking incredible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Really, really good, man. And I would say like it's weird because people always bring up the battle rap thing about music, and this is something I want to talk to you about. People always say like, not everyone, of course. People that actually are in the know don't say this, but a lot of people always say that, oh well, battle rappers can't make music or whatever, right? That has not been the case for an unbelievable amount of time now. Obviously, there's a lot of battle rappers that can't make music, but there's also a lot of normal rappers that can't make music. So it's not really a new thing. It's not like, oh well, if you're a battle rapper, therefore you can't, right? But I do think that you're someone that has been, you know, making incredible music for a lot longer than a lot of other battle rappers have really managed to. And I think nowadays, even though you've been doing it a long time, I liked how much your music has developed. You know, like you're a lot more like you can do a lot more like melodic-y type of things and a lot more like introspection things without the same kind of backpacky type of vibe that you had in a lot of old tracks that you had, in my opinion. And I think especially in like, you know, in Smmr and Sprng and whatnot, I think there's a lot of examples of that. Um, Speaking of
I
which,
appreciate it.
you have a new track coming out in a few days on Wednesday, right?
On Wednesday, like dirt.
Anyone wants to check that out, you can go to Illmac's Instagram, which, by the way, will be on the website once this is uploaded, once I've got everything on there. There's going to be a little card on there that says your name, the episode, your socials are going to be on there, etc., etc. So yeah, just if anyone wants to find it, just go to konr.work/DAM, all caps. So you'll find it on there. What is your favorite battle that you've ever had? And I don't mean like as in your performance in general, I mean overall.
Um, okay, real quick, I do want first. I want to respond to what you were
Oh yeah,
saying
no
because
problem. My bad.
I share a similar outlook that when people talk about um, you know, battle rappers can't make music. Most people can't make music. Most rappers don't make good music.
Yep.
A lot of music, like I don't think that it's a disproportionate amount in within battle rap. I think that the same amount of battlers, you know, had they not been battlers, had they, it's all proportionate to where most people make bad music,
Yep.
and so that's not going to change whether it's in battle rap or outside of it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that where the disconnect is people think because someone is good at battle rap, they should be good at making music,
Mhm.
hypothetically. And that disconnect is more in that person's perception than in the actual proportion. Like most rappers are trash, you
Yep.
know what I'm saying? And so that isn't exclusive to battle rap or any other thing. It all is the same proportion of trash happening, you know what I mean? But when people equate one skill set that's, you know, that is rapping, it's under the rap wheelhouse, but it isn't making music, they automatically think they should be good. And then in their disappointment of people being trash also in battle rap, that's where that I think cliche sort of comes from. So I agree with that. And me personally, I started writing raps when I was 11. I was recording by the time I was 13 and renting out spots, and I never freestyled or battled until I was like 15. So I was like artist first that went into battle rap, where I think a lot of people it's sort of the reverse, where they'll learn to battle rap and then be like,
And
oh,
then
let
try and
me,
make music.
make some. Yeah, exactly.
But
So
it's like the
I
mechanical
appreciate
side
that
of it, right?
distinction.
It's like people think that because you have a mechanical part of it, of making music, which is the rapping side, it's kind of the same thing as when people think people are good at rapping because they rap fast. You know, like if you don't have a very good
Hmm.
understanding of what it is that they're actually doing, then you might think, oh my, this is so fucking impressive. And then you watch someone battle rap and you think, oh, that's the same thing. It's just fucking not. It's not even like, yeah, there's a part of it that's the same, of course, but like it's a very small part. And also, not just rappers, but artists in general. Most artists aren't like high levels. Like at the end of the day, if you're making art, you're making art, and it's your own art. But that
Hmm.
doesn't make it like
Hmm.
most people suck. Like most people that draw, most people that design, most people that do all sorts of shit. They don't spend enough time to really hone the craft. You know, like they're usually doing it on the side, or you know, they're not like that into it, or they're just not very good. You know, it could be just that. So I think yeah, it's there's way more examples of people now, like, so I think less people are saying it, but people still say it, you know, like
Yeah,
I think it's dumb, to
yeah,
be honest with
I
you.
agree.
It's just a misunderstanding. They
Yeah,
just don't get it.
yeah, I agree for sure.
But yeah, the next
Um,
part, what's your fucking favorite battle?
that I've done,
Yes.
probably my compliment battle with the Saurus.
Okay. Damn. Okay.
Like that, yeah, I think that's like my favorite battle I've done. Um,
Why?
it's because I think it's just the culmination of like 20 years of, you know, our friendship, the relationship dynamics in the history of the 2-on-2s, and both, coming up in the same, time frame, and the association between us. There was so much to talk about and get through, and there's jokes in it, and a lot of it's funny, but also for the most part, we're up there, like, telling each other the truth and giving each
Mhm.
other our flowers. And I think that battle rap being used in that way, it can be powerful, and it was sort of the funnest to write for me. And I think, I mean, look, I've seen people say this, but they're like, "Oh, greatest compliment battle ever," whatever. I think what makes it different in general is like we're being genuine. That
Mhm.
while there's still humor, we're not just going up there and, like, saying the other one's attractive and making a bunch of like homoerotic
Yeah.
references.
Yeah.
There might be a couple in there, but
Yeah.
comes from a place of truth. uh, but yeah, I think for all those reasons, that's like my favorite that I've got to do, as far as a battle. It's a little bit of a cop out because it's a compliment battle, but it's the
Hey,
truth. You know what I
it's
mean?
fine. That's fine. To be honest, it's like I bet it's like a little different because I've heard from battle rappers before where they've been like the downside of battles is like you got to constantly think negatively about the person that you're battling for a long
Mhm.
period of time, and then it's just like
Yeah,
constant negative energy, and then on the day it's
yeah.
like massive anxiety as well. And whereas I would imagine there's a lot less anxiety when you've just been thinking positively about your boy for like the whole time, and then now you get to tell him all these compliments, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't get the set. Yeah, when I'm preparing usually for a battle, yeah, it's just a month, 2 months, however long it is, of just being in this constant state of like, you know what I mean, like feeling pressure in your chest, because ultimately I'm writing whatever it is, 9, 10 minutes of material plus, for one person, for one night, for one time. I never get a second crack at it. I can never use it again.
Hmm.
Whether the crowd is, all the factors, none of it matters. I get one shot at it, and I'm standing across from someone. They say that they like public speaking, people fear it more than death and all that. I'm like, yeah, now take public speaking. But now add an opponent aspect, opposition, where you're standing in front of someone whose sole goal is to make you look bad.
Yeah.
Not only in front of the room of hundreds or 1,000 people, in front of a live stream of thousands, and ultimately on the internet for millions to see in perpetuity.
Yep.
You know what
And
I'm
bring
saying?
up
Like,
forever. Like they're gonna bring up, oh well, he said
and-
this to you or whatever for the rest of your life.
yeah. So all those factors before you even get into like your opponent's skill set and all those things, or what's on the line and your current, you know, standing with leagues and fans, and how you're gonna get in, you know, make sure that you stay in the pay structure that you're in. Aside from all that, that's the first place, you know what I mean, of just like knowing, all right, one crack at it, and someone's entire goal is to make me look bad forever.
I think I'm way too sensitive for that. I don't think I could do that
in the future.
I think it would just kill me, to be honest. Like
it kills me, man.
I don't feel like I'm sensitive, but I am, like, for real. Like, I'm one of them, like, I'm a very reactive person, very like passionate and whatnot. So I feel like if I was in a battle and someone said some crazy shit, I'd be like, and I wouldn't be able to not respond. Like, I'd be like, really, and afterwards I'd look like a fucking idiot on camera too, because I'd be like talking through their rounds and shit, like 100%.
You'd pull the swammy on them, huh?
I would be bad.
Swammy on somebody.
I would be bad. I would definitely be bad. I also don't think I can rap very well, so that might be the number one problem. But you know, maybe I could if I practiced.
You'll fit right in. You'll fit right in battle rap.
Hey, I'll just go on the Spaces or something, right?
Yeah, there you go.
No offense to Spaces rappers, there's a few of them that were good. So, do you remember when you were doing the streams during COVID and you were doing like for a while it was like you and Chase making music and whatever? Do you think you're ever gonna do those again?
Maybe, I don't know. We've been throwing some ideas around about maybe bringing those back, like, I don't know, once a month or every other month or whatever. It was just you know, for me, and the whole time, I mean, people seem to enjoy them, which was cool. But you know, when you're streaming and interacting with the audience, for me, I'm just like, it's also just hours of hearing one beat on loop forever. And if I'm really trying to lock in, I'm not gonna be as communicative with chat. And it's like, like the response and people seeming to enjoy it was actually surprising to me, because I'm like, we'll try it, but I just feel like it's gonna be boring just watching me sit there and like mumble to myself for a couple hours and then record or whatever. But I think that me and Chase were talking about the idea of like bringing it back and still creating songs from scratch, like, and but maybe even just going in a little bit more prepared, like having a song started to a beat or something, and still writing live. And I really liked some really cool things came out of it for, like, what song was it? I remember specifically Hoodie Season. The damn near the chat Ghost wrote a bunch of stuff on there, like not like full bars or whatever, but like throwing out phrases and colors and all these things that I incorporated in there. There was like some anime reference that I'd never even seen the anime, but someone in the chat said it, and I just like threw it in the verse. And that aspect of it is fun to me. And yeah, Chase and I thought about maybe bringing it back on some, you know, every month or two, doing one of them, just to, you know, tap back in with the live stream audience, have a little more connection, and also, you know, edit that down. And I'm just trying to think of ways to incorporate YouTube a little bit more in the long form, aside from Reels and TikToks and socials. I you know, have a pretty big subscriber base on YouTube, and I want to figure out the right thing, the right content piece to sort of feed that a little bit more often than a lot more often than I do. I hardly put out, you know, stuff on YouTube as is.
I think it would be a good idea, because I think even though a creative can think, oh, this is just boring, I'm literally not talking at all and I'm focused and sitting and staring at stuff. Even me, like when I'm designing stuff, sometimes I'll commentate about it and be like, oh, I'm doing this because of this and blah, blah, blah. But like there's a long period of time in the middle where I'm just staring at it and thinking, and it's not like something I can really like put across without like kind of interrupting my thought, you know? So, and I think a lot
Yeah.
of artists are like that too, in general. So I think like even though the artists themselves often think, oh, this is fucking boring, like why would anyone wanna see this? I think it's a little more like from the fans perspective, people really like to see behind the curtain a little bit. Like they like to see like exactly how you actually go about doing stuff. Like, you know, people
Mhm.
think, oh, it's like effectively magic because they don't have a fucking clue how you write some of the stuff you write. But when they watch you sitting there and like kind of mumbling to yourself a little bit and like coming up with it on the spot, I think it like paints a picture a little better to them about how you actually do it and how it's actually attainable. You know, like it's a thing that a human
Right.
being can actually do. And I think
Mhm.
that's a cool thing. I enjoyed them a lot. Like I was in them every time, fucking for until like 5 a.m. a lot of the time. So I enjoyed them very much. I'd
I
love
think
if they
that's a
came back.
good point. I remember geeking out watching, uh, the Tech Nine Experience DVDs and seeing him record and how he does it, and even like the unofficial Carter documentary or whatever, and seeing him record all those features just in a hotel room, and I enjoyed that as a fan as well too. So I could definitely see that side of it as well.
And the thing is, I think if you overthink it, then you might, it might be worse. But if you just don't overthink it and just go, oh, maybe we just turn the stream on right now, you know, like while we're doing this, and then just it'll be
Hmm.
short or as long as you want, pause, and then you fucking, you know, just move on later and end up like posting a few vods to your YouTube here and there, and then people can go and look at them if they want. I think that'd be a good idea, just as a like a, because I think people, I'm not saying they're getting sick of short form content. I just think there's so much short form content that it's like it's a massive oversaturation now. So I think when you just said like, you know, you'd like to post more to YouTube, a little bit more long form stuff, I think I agree that that's a good idea because I think people will eventually get a little sick of everything being constantly tiny and like absolutely no like sit down and watch something. Also, a lot of the time like people will do one thing and then want to watch something at the same time, like have it on their second monitor or something. Like I do that a lot, and you can't really do that with short form stuff. Like you have to make an entire playlist and then you have to interrupt yourself to then get the next thing maybe if it finishes. Whereas if I have like a 2-3 hour VOD or two, you know, I can just line that up, put it next to me, and then continue with my work. And I think therefore that's like free views, you know, that's like someone that's actually just watching but also doing something else. I think that's like the
Yeah,
upside for me with long form content.
yeah, it's
Speaking
a
of
good
which,
point for sure.
what about Meanwhile on Earth as well? That's another thing I think you should bring back. You sighed, but
Honestly, I've stopped doing Meanwhile on Earth because I was watching a lot of podcasts at the time and sort of in that vibe. I haven't really been on podcasts as much lately, the last like year or so.
mm.
But honestly, man, I just thought I sucked at it, and I was like, I could just get better and put the time in and be more cognizant of these things that I don't like when I watch it back and this and that. But I just thought about it and I was like, it's not something I care enough about
I feel
and
you.
I'm passionate enough about to want to put in the time to get good at. So I
So
was just
therefore,
like,
it's like
it's
you're
just.
avoiding feeling bad instead. I feel you.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't care enough to put the work in to become good at it. And right now, I think I suck at it. So
Hey,
I'm
I think
like,
I suck at this
either
too, to be
do I
honest.
want to be good at it or do I care? And I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to do it. You know what
I
I
feel
mean?
you. I feel you. I mean, I feel like I
Like
suck at this
Avro
every
would
time
like
I listen back.
pester me. No, you're good.
I feel, yeah, you
But
say that,
Avro would,
but it's like you feel that way about yourself, and I feel that way about myself. So my point is more like
yeah,
maybe you're delusional. Maybe it's just because it's about yourself, you
the,
know? Like it's very easy to
yeah,
pick apart like little things about your speech patterns and shit like that, or like, you know, topics you brought up, or like, you know, maybe you droned on about something a bit too long in your opinion. But most people, I'm not gonna lie, don't notice the things that we notice about ourselves, you know? Hey, I'm
yeah.
not saying bring it back as like a constant thing, but like maybe an occasional thing where you're like, you know what, it'd be a good one to have with such and such a person, you know, and then like just quickly have
Yeah.
a quick one, like rather than having it scheduled. I think maybe then there's like less pressure, I guess, right? Um,
Yeah.
and it'd be a bit
Yeah,
more.
Avo was like, essentially pestering me on those episodes that did, that last wave that I did. It's really just Avo peer pressuring me into coming. Come on, man, we got it, and me just feeling hell of anxiety, like, oh, all right, you know what I mean, and like going through it like that. But yeah, I think also too, like, it's about having the right, whether it be co-host or guests,
Mhm.
to really vibe off of, and going through a process. Like, if I was gonna really take a crack at Meanwhile on Earth again, it wouldn't, I would, re take stock again of my speech habits, and whether I'm cutting people off, or not actively listening as much, or whatever the case is, all those personal things. But I always thought too, watching it, like, having a co-host that can carry the same amount of weight, and but
Yeah, yeah.
also be different enough in their opinion where it creates this good, dynamic. That's something I would consider looking for as well, if I was going to bring that back.
That's
But
a
now I
little.
just
Sorry,
go
my
ahead.
bad. It's a little bit
No, you
like
good.
you watch like a sports thing or like a esports
Hmm.
thing or whatever, and you have casters that are kind of like they have color casters, and then they have like analytical casters, and they kind of like fill in the gaps
I
where.
don't think you're supposed to say that.
Shut the fuck up. Fucking anyway,
I think
shoutcasters. I'll say it
there are
like that.
people
But like effectively, one will be the analytical one, and then one will be the one that like puts actual like color into the fucking cast. Like they're the one who like
yeah,
actually like makes everything sound exciting or whatever, or like fills the gaps
yeah,
about non-analytical things. And then there's someone else who's like a little bit more low key and is like the one who jumps in to go, hey, here's why this happened, and like here's the details of what really went behind this, and blah 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 blah. I think it's kind of like that, right? Like with a co-host like that, where
I
you
agree.
you find someone who just fills in the gaps where you feel inadequate, kind of. Like you
Yeah,
get them to fill in that, and then vice versa as well. Like you're going to be better than them at some things too.
yeah.
Who would you pick?
I think that's, I don't know. Just judging off of like my phone conversations, and the man has a million stories about everything, I always considered like Nino Bless would be
Yeah.
perfect for that. But he's just not local, so we'd have to do some sort, more like online
Mhm.
situation or whatever. And if I was gonna do it, I would figure, and find a person that is local, that
Nearby.
we
Yeah.
could, film it in person or whatever.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I don't. I'm not sure who I would pick. It just, at one time I had that thought, like, Nino would be perfect to run the cast with.
Mhm.
But just not possible at this point. But I have been, not have been, but once, this last Wednesday, I did the like behind the scenes production for Geechee's podcast, No
Oh, okay.
Studio, and where I was like doing, just all I did was like start it and stop it, and then other than that, during the whole time, like changing the camera angles from one side to the other. It's two
Gotcha. Gotcha.
cameras. But that was fun, and I was like popping in with my little background commentary, and they're like, you got to do it again and get you a mic. I'm like, that's cool. And if I'm not, where the pressure's all on me to like
Mhm.
make sure this is good, then I can have some fun with it with the right people.
Yeah, I feel that. I think it'd be a good idea. I think it was like a cool thing to watch in general, and I think if, for example, with this podcast, sometimes I'll recommend it to people, and then I'm thinking, oh fuck, they're gonna listen to like the first few episodes, and I feel like, oh, I was so bad at this. Then like, I feel like I'm still bad, but compared to then, it's not even like I feel like that first one when I listened to it back, the amount of ums and ahs and like stupid pauses and shit. Like there were good moments. Don't get me wrong, it was a good episode, but it was like podcast wise, it annoyed me listening back. So I definitely relate to what
Yeah.
you're saying there. But then when I got to like episode 7, 8, something like that, it started to feel a little bit more natural and like I'm just having a fucking conversation. I think if it was like bullet points and I had to go through specific things every single time, I would have a much harder time. But when it's like a candid conversation, it's a lot easier because I'm generally just, that's the way I present it. And if someone doesn't like the topic, then fucking get a grip and go and find another fucking podcast. That's kind of how I feel about it. So it's like yeah, I do get it. But I think, yeah, if you get a good co-host, if you like are chilling with people at some point, you go, you know what? They would be a good. You mean Frack would be good, but Frack's a busy man, to be honest.
Yeah, Frack's got the social media world to take over, man.
He does. He does. He is kind of doing
He-
everything right now, all at the same time. Like, so that's an interesting one. Maybe Pass would be cool too. Pass would be a good co-host, I think. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure though. I don't know
yeah,
if I've
he's
seen
like
Pass talk for that long.
he man a few words.
Yeah.
He's a man of few words. You know what I mean?
Maybe he wouldn't like
Unless
pick up the
you get him
slack
going.
enough. Yeah, until he starts
Yeah,
rapping,
yeah,
and then he has many words to say, like
yeah. Then there's a lot of words.
5,000 words a minute type shit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about your battle with Sick. Fuck it, let's do it. So I said to them earlier when we were watching it that I have a different opinion than the public about this. Not the whole public, obviously. I'm sure plenty of people do think he won, but it seems like a lot of people on Twitter, for example, were saying that pretty immediately they were like saying that you lost and it was clear, and I just don't believe that to be true. And I'll let you go off on about that in a second, but I want to say why. Number one, I think when someone takes when I notice that someone is using something to set up another bar and the other bar is good, but the setup is stupid and the setup takes forever, even if it was really well written and rapped, if the premise is wrong, I know a lot of people don't give a shit, but like for me, it takes me out of it a little bit, especially if you're like a high level battle rapper. Like if you're up here, then I hold you to a higher standard. Like, and Sick is one of those people. Like I saw him live when he went against Mav over here like years ago, and he was really good then, but he's much better now. But like he brought up the thing about you supposedly not mentioning that you're Native American, and if that was true, how do I know that you're a Native American? Is my point, right? Like, and I knew before I even spoke to you that you were a Native American, so it's just not true. And you've rapped it in a lot of battles. I've like the amount of battles I've watched, rewatched on stream and stuff with people, and then gone, oh, there's one. Like after that, it's loads, you know. And I've I watched a few, like, you know, in the run up to this type of shit, and I just don't think it was a very good point to make. But then the reason he did it is because later in the round he says some shit about I'm a better Indian than you. So it's like, okay, I get why he said it, because he needed to make sense with that bar. And it was good, don't get me wrong. It wasn't a bad round. Very good round. But because he did that, I just don't see it as clear of a win as other people do. I think if it wasn't that, and if maybe he said something that actually made sense as a fucking setup and then went into that, I probably would have him winning the round clear. But it's still a little you think he won the round, I think, right? But like I don't know. I don't like that part of the raps that he did, to be honest. And I think you won the third clearly, and the first is debatable.
I hated the round. I hated the round during, like, you even see some of my reaction, just like there's lines in it that I didn't like, not because it like hit me hard or whatever, but some of them that I thought were like low hanging fruit, like, you know, about smallpox blanket and all these different things where I'm like, I thought we were a little bit, you know, had a little bit more taste. Like that's when I think about me and Sick, like a little bit, you know, less low hanging fruit type shit. But the hey, amazing. You know what I mean? I love the hey, put a native in front of a fire round. Hey, like amazing. So many reasons why. Like it's like a song lyric. It's melodic. It's clever. And you know, he ran it back like 5 times, and the crowd said it louder each time. And the about Columbus ships, and I got a Nina though. Like I don't know about a Pinta or Santa Maria. I got a Nina though. Fire. But in general, how I look at that round is, you know, it's not true. You know, I've had entire rounds but he said, you never rep it. And then literally is like, yo, you was repping it in this battle. In that battle. Like, I'm like, that's already oxymoronic. But, you know, Vega had an entire round where I was talking about not only me being indigenous, but had a lot of references to, you know, famous aboriginals who've shaped the culture, invented things, all this out there. You know what I mean? And Manic, I had an entire round in the 2-on-2s and whatever else, you know, of course, raising the bars, and in my music, it's a point of reference. So yeah, it is a false premise, but one thing strategically that I look at is A, is it effective? And B, what is the landscape, the environment. And what he did really well throughout that whole battle, and that second round just really hits the nail on the head, is he controlled the energy and he controlled the narrative.
He did.
So he goes first and he says a few things that aren't true. Like, you know, you hated on people for doing gun bars. I was never the gun bar hater.
Never.
Like, I didn't, that's just not a
He
thing.
didn't hate on Drake
But
or anything.
he
Like,
sets this, he sets this premise though. And where are we at? We're in Houston, where URL has done a million events. He's performed out there. So he's going into it and he's rightfully says, I want to set the narrative and explain to everyone what is going on. And while, you know, there are battle rap fans who know who I am in there, I think there was less of a familiarity and he knew that going in.
Yeah.
So he was able to control whatever he says about me automatically is probably true if you're in the crowd. You know what I mean? You're more familiar with him, you're less familiar with me. And so that second round was effective because of that. And of course, there was I hate this story, but I'll tell it. After the battle, I went up to him and I essentially said some of what I just said, where I'm like, bro, I've said it in a million battles, bro. Like, I always rap my shit. But fools know that I'm native or whatever. And literally, as I'm saying that, two real sick standing right here, Jazz the rapper comes up. She's like, hey, yo, you're next. As I was saying, like, they know, and like I just looked at Sick and he just like took a drink from whatever he was drinking. I was like, I fucking hate you, man.
That's funny. I think maybe like people from the URL crowd probably don't know as much as other people, because maybe if they're more used to watching the URL battles, then they might not pay as close attention to everything you're saying and therefore not know these things, right? Like, because you haven't gone to URL, so therefore they may, if you'd have said it on URL, they probably would know, but they don't pay as much attention. Also, I think, would you say that, like, as I just watched back your first round, I loved the first round that both times I watched it, but I will say that, like, maybe some parts of it fell flat a little bit because of the fact that, like you just said, that the room kind of knew him already and thought of him as this, like, up here guy. So when you said things like, you know, the virgin bar and stuff like that, like these sorts of lines where it was like, you were kind of saying that he was like, scaring the bitches and blah blah blah, that kind of thing. Like, I think maybe if some of that fell on deaf ears just because of their perspective of him already. Like, you couldn't really convince them to look at him as lame because they were already seeing him as this fucking crazy, fucking ultra energetic fucking superhero guy. Yeah. So like, it was hard to like kind of convince them of that.
I think that, and but I also think just on a visceral level, what he did really well is, you know, and it was strategic, was going first. And it's weird the way that our styles and approaches sort of like really offset each other. And, you know, it could have worked to my advantage, but this time I think it worked for his, where there are certain things that I went into it saying, I don't want to yell a lot. I want to switch speeds. I want to go from punching into a joke into, like, you know, really rapping. I want to switch speeds a lot because I know that his energy is going to be here for most of the battle. So what I want to do is have peaks and valleys and show that I'm more dynamic in my performance and rap ability. But how it played out with him going first and setting, you know, the back half of his round, especially setting this energy level, is when I come in calm and cool, it feels like there's a void in the energy. So a lot of my stuff is falling on deaf ears, not as even because of they might not agree with me, or not. I think also just on a visceral level, they're like, where's that energy? We're already up here, and then he's coming in, and it's like it was hard to read, I think, the energy for them, or threw the crowd off a little bit of that jump from where he was at to where I was in the energy. And it was intentional coming in, and I thought that could work to my advantage. It didn't quite, I think, go that way, the way I intended. And I think that's a big reason why my first round was getting super slept on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, and it's just because it felt like I was in an energy vacuum. I said this on the watch the other week, but like when he was ending his first round, I was like, I'm gonna smoke that round. I was like, my round is way better than that. I'm gonna be shutting every 4 bars. I'm shutting the building down. You
Yep.
know what I mean? I'm like, when this Kool-Aid Man bar is gonna
Oh,
shut it
incredible.
down. You know, Juice Head picture
That's
from a hole.
insane.
I'm like, from that, I'm like, I'm gonna have to. They're gonna want me to run back that, and I'm not. But then once it was like, oh, okay, I was like, wait, what? And then
Yeah,
my next punchline was like, oh, and all of a sudden, mid
you
round or
realized.
whatever, I was like, oh, this is not what I thought it was gonna be. I love my material. It doesn't seem to be getting the response I think it should get,
Mhm.
but hey, it happens like that. And from then on, the rest of the battle is just me having an internal monologue of like, just perform it like you love it because you do,
Yeah.
regardless of reception. That's all. And I just kept telling myself, don't fold, even if you're, you know, before you start your third round, people are saying 3-0, get that round off. That's one of
Mhm.
my favorite rounds I've
Great
written, you
round.
know, and I'm like, so I just had to coach myself of like, the room is one thing. I don't want to sabotage this battle. I want it to live on the internet, and I have to get my best performance, regardless of if I think some of these lines should be shutting the building down or getting more reaction than they were.
Yeah, I feel you. I think yeah, you. When I was watching it just then as well, I was saying to the stream that I think he's kind of controlling the energy, like you say. Like
Mhm.
he took it to a point, and then he's like, if you don't go anywhere close to that, and it went just with the energy, not when it comes to the writing, then people are just gonna
Yeah,
think, oh, he thinks he's losing, you know, like they think, oh, he's
yeah,
not rapping like he thinks he's winning, you know, which is obviously not
hmm,
how it works, but that is how often people take it for sure.
for
Um,
sure.
I want to talk about a battle that I've played on stream probably like 8, 9 times. You versus A Ward, in my opinion, is one of your best performances. And I think when that came out originally, it was crazy, but then it's even crazier considering how many people have absolutely failed to remotely have a performance like that versus A Ward since. Like some big names have not done well versus A Ward, you know? And I think you really
Hmm.
showed how to break his kind of style down really well in each round. And you had like I think you have punches that actually make sense, and I think a lot of people don't, or that maybe half of it makes sense. You know, like I was saying, I was being
Yeah.
really nitpicky before, and Desi was like, "Oh, it's just a phrase." What was the phrase? It was like uh uh fuck, I don't remember what the phrase was, but it was like a common phrase, but like the bar referenced it, and it was like half of it made sense, but the other half didn't make any sense whatsoever. It was just like, well,
That
yeah,
I said or A
no, that he
word.
said it was when we were
Mm.
watching Sick. I mean, like Sick said something that was like
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what bar it was right now, but it was like the whole punch, just half of it made sense, and the last part just wasn't. Oh, I remember. It's a Special Olympics bar. Like it's not that bad, but like play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The stupid prizes part, where that's the bit that I'm like, where does that tie in? Because there is no I understand the stupid games. I get that. I get that part. But it's just normal prizes. There's no like I just don't see it. I'm being nitpicky. I realize that, right?
Okay, and now you're talking about that in relationship to the actual Olympics part
Yeah.
or the other one?
Yeah, yeah, to the Special Olympics. Like I just don't I'm not seeing the connection between those two. It seems like kind of a little forced. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. I've heard
Yeah.
much more forced things for sure, and half of it at the very least does make sense. But like, I literally paused the battle. I was like, listen, guys, I know I'm nitpicking, but I just feel like that's
Well,
not
you could
quite.
argue, you could okay, so I forget how he sets it up, but I'm sure he gives some kind of context of me getting what I deserve, right? I can't
Yeah, yeah,
remember
that
what
bit's
the,
fine.
and so that side makes sense.
Hmm.
Now, in terms of the other more literal side of Special Olympics, that side, I think it's good. Like, I think it works. Like, because stupid games, okay, we get that. And stupid prizes, it's like, yeah, it's not a real prize, though. Like,
But I mean, neither
it's
is
like you
the
got
other
the
one though. Like it's kind of like in the normal Olympics, it's just a medal the same way, right? Like it's not. It's no
yeah,
like at the end of the
but
day,
it's a
it's
stupid medal.
is it though? Like, is it? Or are we just saying that to fit the bar? I don't know. Like, listen, it's not. It's not a bad
Well,
bar.
we'll say it's a special medal, right?
Oh,
Like
well, if he said win
it's a
special prizes,
prize for being special. You know what I'm saying?
if he said special prizes, but that's not the phrase, so he couldn't do that. But like, I'm not saying it's a bad bar, right? But the reason I say
Uh,
that is because I was comparing it to like how you write, and I think that most of the time you don't have loose ends like that in most of your bars. Like you have all of it is kind of well woven together and makes pretty much sense all together and on its own. It's not just like there's never like a part of it where I'm like, all right, that doesn't really tie in that well. Like you usually tie it together really, really well. You're not just rhyming really well and then like 80% of it is there and then the 20%
Yeah.
isn't. You always need to tie it together, and I think that's something that matters in battles to me. So
I appreciate it. Yeah, I think I'm a stickler when I write for those types of things. It really bothers me. Like if I can't work a punchline where it makes sense both ways, I just won't. I'll just cut it. Where I think a lot of people would say, but I can't remember. I might have said this on Watch too. But my thing is, and I don't think Sick is an example of what I'm about to say, but a lot of punchers in general, what I notice, it's more about the punch and the cleverness of a connection than what the actual meaning is. It's just, and it blows fans' minds that they just connected those two things in a clever way. Whether the underlying message A makes sense or B is even
Applies, yeah.
saying anything attacking the opponent. And so a lot of people, I think, who are more punch heavy, they write and think in terms of making the connection and making it clever, right?
I agree.
And so it comes punch first, then the thought seems to be, how can I tie this in now to my opponent or whatever. Where with me, when I write, it's really hard for me just to think of punchlines when it comes to writing for a battle. Like first thing I do is think, what is my message? What am I trying to say? And then I think, how can I make that a punch? So I'm like, I think message first. Like, what is going to be my point? Now, how do I make a punch out of that? So that's my pet peeve when I do watch some punches, because I'm like, yeah, that was a clever connection, but it actually doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Or if it means something, it's something that isn't really attacking. It's just a very ambiguous statement that happens to be clever when you muddle the words and connect these random things. You know what I mean? But it's effective though for a lot of fans, and it's exciting to watch those connections be made, I think. And of course, there's all the X factors of performance and all those things. But me personally, and I don't think that everyone should write like me. I'm not like everyone should do it.
You got to be yourself at the end of the day.
For my own personal taste, I usually try, and of course I've had bad bars and whatever else or stuff. I look back like, I knew that was a little thin, but it helped me get to here or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I usually try to think message first and then make that clever, as opposed to cleverly connect things and try some fandangled way of making it relate to my opponent.
Yeah, I think that's my preferred type of writing, and I think that might be why I'm so like, nitpicky with things like that. Like, because yeah, you could have said some really clever shit when it comes to everything else, but if the meaning has some missing thing there and I notice it, it just kind of pulls me away from like being immersed in what's going on. And I think that happened like a decent amount of times in the Sick battle, but not all the time. Like he had great moments, and he raps like a fucking, like, Jesus Christ. Like he's like a improved Disaster in the way he raps sometimes, and I think that's pretty cool. Like obviously I like Diz a lot. Back in the day I used to watch his, but I think he was one of the first battlers I was even remotely a fan of, actually, because he was like one of the ones who was coming over to the UK a lot, and so a lot of the UK stuff was like, Diz was getting on Don't Flop, and then there was the drama with I remember, because he spat in his face, which is hilarious.
Then he spit in his own face as in who'd he battle? Sketch Menace or something?
Yeah.
And he dressed up as because
Disaster
didn't make it out there. Yeah.
That was funny.
Classic.
Good times, man. I think the other people I was watching back then was like Roan as well. Roan came over and battled Blizzard. I remember that. And I remember one of his bars to this day. He said, "Bradley Green, you badly need some acne cream." It's just like, fuck yeah, dude.
Roan's another one too, like, who I think his writing is really tight. Like he he doesn't usually straight, like, of course he's got jokes and humor and everything, but overall in his messaging and breaking down of an opponent, like he's not doing reaches or anything. Like his battle against Sharon is like a master class in deconstruction and not a single word going to waste.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
He's someone who actually writes really well.
I remember him going versus the Saurus as well, and like I remember that battle being really good. Like he had a very good like he what did he say? Like he was like just calling him disgusting for an entire round. It was just like tying it all together. I was like, that's fucking hilarious. And it was just like I think Roan is someone I'd like to see battle a lot again. Because yeah, when he came back to battle Sharon, I think he clearly won that battle. And Sharon's no slouch, as you know, because you battled him recently. No. Although I do think you won that battle. I'm not gonna lie. I did not think you lost it still. And then
biased.
I am maybe. I might be biased, but the thing is, like, it's just a preference. I think, like, I just don't really enjoy listening to Sharon rap. Like, he writes some insane shit, but like his cadence and his voice actually just annoys me a bit when he raps. And it's not again. I'm not saying he's bad at all. He's not at all. Not even close to bad. Right? He's very, very good. But like, just the way some of the things he says as well, I don't think really fit him. You know, like he says shit that you're like, what? Like you wouldn't. Come on, bro. Like I'm just like this is not something you should be saying out loud. Like, and I hear that too often with him. You know, it's like if Frack started rapping about the same type of like weird violent shit and whatever, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, what is Frack doing? But he doesn't do that. Like Frack is himself every battle, and I think if Sharon was himself every single battle, I might enjoy it a bit more. You know. But I mean, there's been battles I've watched of his that are still very good.
Sharon, again, he knows what his strengths are, and he plays to them really well, and he knows how to control the crowd. And I mean, come on, his freestyle game and being able to react on the spot is elite. And I think he had a great performance. Like. For me, it's just disappointing to watch because you know that was a week after I battled the Saurus for the compliment battle, and now it's no excuse because if you don't have time to prepare, that's on you. Shouldn't have took the battle. That's usually my status or my opinion on it. Like then you shouldn't have took it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But that to say, I also thought. I underestimated the compliment battle and how much I was gonna write, but also as like leading into it, you know, everyone's like, yeah, you know, it'll be when you do those battles, like you can always reshoot your round or do whatever. It's low stakes, blah blah. But because it's like a private event and they just want the best product or whatever. But after taking the battle and kind of having those things in my mind. You know, they're selling tickets. And I'm like, wait, there's going to be a crowd, the public there. Oh, well, there goes that. Okay, so I need to be locked in. Okay, cool. But then, of course, when I start writing and thinking, I'm like, this isn't just some little funny 90-second rounds. This is like 20 years of legacy that we need to talk about. And so I didn't think that through when I took the compliment battle of like, this actually means something to me. We need to have long rounds and I need to really address these things and whatever else. And so I had already locked in the Sharon battle because I wanted to make it out for Stay Day. Now, that just sounds like a long-winded excuse, but it's more so context of I underestimated kind of how much I was going to need to put into the compliment battle and how hard that was. So then, boom, I had like 1 week to write my Sharon rounds and memorize them, and I just wasn't prepared. So as much as I'd like to be, like I love a lot of my material, but I just wasn't able to execute it how it should have been executed. So me personally, I'm like, yeah, he got that. I wish I'd have been able to perform my material better because I preferred my material, but he had a flawless performance and controlled the room as well. So I can't be mad at anyone saying that he, 30'd or whatever.
Oh yeah, I get it. I mean, I understand. I wouldn't say that like I think that he won in like obviously, or that people are tripping or something. It's just a preference thing for me. Like I just don't enjoy the way he puts across some of these things as much as I enjoy York type of rap, to be honest. So it's not like I'm not like shitting on him. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he raps bad. I don't think he writes bad. He's very good, but it's just not my cup of tea. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would say like you know, his freestyle ability especially is something that's like really impressive, because like I saw recently like a clip of him like just outside freestyling to himself. Someone turned the camera on for some reason, I don't know why, and then like he was just like in the car park, like parking lot somewhere, and just like rapping some of the craziest shit I've ever fucking heard come off the top of someone's head. I was like, all right, fucking hell. Like he is very, 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 very good, obviously. But
Yeah,
yeah,
he's someone like there's a few people like this where their energy is infectious because you see how passionate they are
yeah,
about the art, the craft. You know what I mean? Like Danny Myers is another one, sort of in that. And I also think that you know, it comes through a lot with A Ward. Like
yeah,
it may be different, but the consistency and volume, the amount of battles and the consistency level that he has in every single battle is like, you know, I dare I say unparalleled. And
yeah, yeah.
with those three, and there's other examples, I think one thing that is exciting about them is you see the energy and how much they love this craft, and so it makes you comfortable as an audience member and more receptive to what they're doing, I think, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like the opposite of when someone comes unprepared. Like they're always there, always prepared. It's like a nice, refreshing thing when a lot of people just don't remotely give a shit and they just turn up like not trying.
You feel like you're in good hands.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, once one of them starts, you're like, okay,
yeah,
this will be good.
yeah.
You know, I can take this
And you
round off
know,
of worrying.
if you buy a ticket to go one of the events with these guys on them, you know you're gonna have a good time, like almost for
Yeah.
sure. Like they almost never fuck up, you know, like when it comes to
Mhm.
actually preparing for their stuff. You know, there was like maybe a few times Danny did, but it was like he battles an unreal amount. So like he's gonna have a few fucking battles that aren't that great, you know, like, but it's very rare. And same with Sharon, yeah, and same with Ward.
Yeah,
Uh,
I feel like I've never seen Ward faltered. Like
no,
I don't know.
arguably
I
he
don't
did
think
versus
he's
you,
ever.
but he didn't falter. It was still good. Like he rapped well, his bars were good. Like I did enjoy his rounds. He just was outmatched in that battle. But he has, I think he's
Yeah,
also done a
I
lot
just
better
mean
though.
in terms of like choking or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
stumbling, or like I feel like I've never seen him, you know, misstep in that way
Yeah,
as far as
he doesn't turn up
not being
unprepared.
prepared.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that. I agree with that. I think he's also improved heavily since then. Like since battling
Yeah.
you, like he's way better than he was when he went versus you. Um,
Yeah.
also,
Glad I got him then for
yeah,
sure.
and the fucking start of that video where the birthday thing, dude, that shit's so funny, bro. Like I can't believe they let you do that. Like that is crazy.
I'm
Like
such a
they allowed
troll,
you to
man.
do that, bro. Like they just let you fucking without him even knowing. You just
It's
got to
fucked up.
troll the guy in the start of the video that's online forever. Like
It's
that's
fucked
really
up.
funny. I like a few people that I was watching it with the first time. They were like, "What the fuck?" Like they just let him put this in the video. I was like, "Yeah, dude." Obviously, Arvo's just biased against A Ward.
Yeah, Ward was up against the battle rap Illuminati
Yeah,
in
dude.
that for sure.
That was a
It's
funny
messed
one.
up.
That
Fucked
was
up, Avo.
yeah, unbelievable, Arvo. I can't believe you've done this. Um, do you want to talk about wrap off? So there's been a bunch of wrap off stuff that have happened. You've made cat versus dog, ketchup versus mustard, loads of little things as well. You had an NFT thing that came out that was pretty cool. The website's sick as fuck. It's actually one of the NFTs that I've looked at that isn't garbage, which is rare because a lot of them fucking suck. So what are the new plans? I know a few of them, but go off and tell some people about the plans of wrap off and what the fuck it is, I guess.
Yeah, wrap off, like, you know, it started with the idea in the first cartoon. I partnered with the animator, my boy Andres Salaf, who's, you know, done crazy work, like from regular show to Big Mouth to Adventure Time, the Batman like Christmas movie, and I think, yeah, he's working on some other big cartoons right now that have been announced. But
Oh,
I started with Ketchup Mustard with him. Obviously, Diz played Ketchup as well. Lush in there is, was it baking soda?
Mhm.
Then we did Dog vs. Cat, and we've had several since, from Board Ape versus CryptoPunk, the Mustard freestyle with Method Man
Yeah,
voicing
yeah.
Mustard and Nems voicing Tim's,
And Solomon's
the
beat.
Tim boots. Yeah, exactly. And we had, oh yeah, we did the Kraft one too, the one
Oh,
with
yeah, yeah.
Kraft cheese. That's actually one of my, like, that might be
That
my
was dope.
favorite. Like
That was
the
genuinely very good.
animation crazy, and we did a little bit more sound design, even incorporating music into it. So I was real hyped on that. We have, I mean, spoil the cat's out the bag with sick spoiling it in our battle, but we actually have two more cartoons that we've been sort of sitting on for a minute
Mhm.
because obvious, like, we launched the NFT collection with the whole premise being, if we sell this out or a good amount, we'd be able to put out and fund a bunch of cartoons in a row and hire a team willing to start just banging more of them out on a consistent basis, giving our holders access to all the content first. Wow. But of course, the week that we launched, a week too late, the entire
Big
market
crash.
crashed.
Yeah.
So didn't move any of that. Still in the hole on that whole project because we did a whole free event that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
streamed on Twitch. With 4 battles: Big K versus Jay the Nightwing,
Incredible
Frack
battle.
versus Danny Myers, the Saurus versus Lou Cipher. Um, uh, I think that was the 3 that happened, and Lady Flames and RX was supposed to happen on that event, but wasn't able to. But we paid for everything up front and in out of pocket, from that event to the Board Ape CryptoPunk cartoons to the getting the artwork done for the collection and the website and all that, and went sort of 6 figures in the whole, just as an investment to try to get to a place where we could just make more cartoons and be more direct with the fans.
Yeah.
Now, when that sort of the market crashed and we didn't move anything hardly, it made it to where it's like we have these 2 cartoons, peanut butter versus jelly, and then we have this other one. It's like dog from Dog vs. Cat, but a radio freestyle. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
like
So another mustard
brought
type
Tim's
one.
back. Yeah. Brought Nems back for the Tim's character. It's a radio freestyle, just like the mustard
Oh,
one,
yeah.
but it's Hollow voicing dog
Oh,
on
sick.
beat. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
and
forgot he was
then we
dog.
have, yeah, and we also have, obviously, like I said, peanut butter versus jelly. But the reason we haven't put them out is because once we put it out, that's all we got. The chamber is empty and no way of funding anything further.
Gotcha.
So I've been focused on winter as of this last year and a half or whatever, and there's been different iterations of winter, my music. So I've kind of put a lot of the wrap up, my attention that would be for wrap off, on pause. Um, but the idea is now going into putting out winter and everything. We're gonna sit down, and we have some ideas on the table about calibrating the approach to not only put these cartoons out, but to leverage them in a way where we can move towards putting more out consistently, and it's something we want to do, and incorporate more battle rappers into, and do more community kind of community fed content and stuff. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of ideas we have with it, but it's just sort of been on pause as far as like the flagship cartoons as of recently. But we have partner with co-founders. So my partner in, the Rap Off team is big, but my, main business partner is my boy Bo Lewis. He's the one who does the spreadsheets and is organized. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like more focused on the writing and content creation and all that. But he is doing a musical that is debuting at the end of this month. They're doing like a week-long, I don't know what to call it, residency or whatever, in SF in San Francisco, at the end of this month going into June. So he partnered with Rap Off to make some content that sort of like cross promotes you know, not only rap off and putting out battle rap content, but also is sort of adjacent with his musical. His musical is called Co-Founders,
Mhm.
and it's like, you know, Silicon Valley and Oakland and the collision course that the tech industry and the effects and kind of addressing all of that. And so the first one that we did partnering together to promote that was AI versus human.
Mhm.
You know, it's tech adjacent, still in the wrap off realm. So we put out AI versus human, did numbers, did crazy, cross platforms and reposts like well over 1 million, and did really well. And AI put pause on that boy Pass. You know what I'm saying? A rare win against Pass. I think when it comes to the cartoon world, he's pretty undefeated,
Mhm.
in his voicings. But then we're putting out another one this week, that is another collab with co-founders, and it's going to be rap versus musical is sort of the idea behind it. And in their musical they do have rap and every you know, it's like hip hop but also more musical as well. And it's Kendrick versus Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Mhm.
And so we're putting that out this week, but we're also almost done writing the third and sort of last collaboration with the Rap Off and co-founders. And I won't announce that one yet. It's still it's not 100% done, and there could be some changes. But yeah, so we partnered with them to do these three. Yes, that's boom. There's the flyer for the one dropping this week, and we'll do one more. But then I'm sort of on the heels of doing putting out my music. Winter is when I'm really trying to dive back into rap off business and work on this graphic novel that I started. That I think will be sort of a backbone of the resurgence of rap off, is coming back with a story, narrative form, you
Oh.
know, that can be a physical product that can incorporate the battles in, and also give us a proof of concept that rap off isn't just short form, that we can have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
narrative based story.
You absolutely could. I think like I think especially like the craft cheese one had a lot of examples where, like you said, you had a lot more like nuance in like how the sound design was done and like a little details that really add a lot to it. I think like it's very clear that you guys have a little universe you could work out there and do really good. I
Yeah.
think I'm looking forward to it personally. Also, to be clear about the AI thing, the first AI one, it's not that they've, because people asked me this when I fucking showed them the flyer as well. Like every single person seemed to think that literally they were just asking AI to make bars and then like getting it to rap that. No, the idea is it's a concept, right? So like these guys are the writers, and then they get the AI to rap it, right? Like that's the point. There's a concept behind it. Don't fucking think it's gonna be the worst fucking bars you've ever heard. It's not. That just want to say that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah. This team still wrote, yeah, both sides of bars, and I you know, voiced AI, but then we ran my voice through AI, voice
mhm,
changing. And then of course again on the AI side, we have like the taking a static image and being able to match a lit flap
mhm.
to the audio and everything. So yeah, AI still collabed, but we created the content. And I was rooting for AI, you know, just in case when AI takes over, it'll remember like, oh, you made me look good, man. You got me to 30. I'm good. You know what I mean?
When I made the flyer, I got sent the video, and I literally responded to Frack saying that was so weird hearing like Illmac type rhymes from a robot right now. That's
From AI,
you
yeah.
know, I was like, damn,
It was fun.
I was like, that's very obviously Illmac to me. You know, like I could hear the way you rapped in it. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but
A
yeah,
lot of
hell yeah.
people called that out.
But yeah, I mean, you know, you can't fucking escape your own style at the end of the day. You are who you are. But yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Unfortunately.
I think the wrap off thing is like I think number one as well, guys. I'm gonna put the wait. Do I have the? Let me just open it. Let's see if I do. In fact, have the socials. I don't. I'll put the socials on the website afterwards anyway. But on the same thing, I'll put the Patreon as well for wrap off. So you guys should definitely support on the Patreon as well. I don't know if like what you guys are doing on there right now, but regardless, you should
Yeah.
fucking support regardless. Just
Yeah,
throw money at them guys is my point.
First, I appreciate that, but I'll say just follow first. We felt because we've been taking such a break. You know, if you're supporting on Patreon at this point, you're not getting anything out of it, and it's something I need to tighten up on
Okay.
that side. But really, just following on the socials and staying tuned to the next moves that we're gonna make helps a lot for sure.
Oh yeah, dude. I think yeah, it's like it's such a cool thing that you guys have done. I think it's like it's really cool because there's a lot of massive talent in the battle rap community that like doesn't really get the shine that they probably should. In and outside of just like making music and battle rapping and stuff. I think, you know, you guys are all really multi-talented too. Like you're good at more than just the rap side of things. And I think Frack is a really good example of that as well. But like you guys have got the
Yeah.
team right, so it's like you, Pass, Frack, Bo, Butter Hoops, who I've Jess, right? Don't remember the other names of the other people, but there's a few other people.
That's sort of the nucleus.
Yeah,
That's sort of the nucleus is like me, past Fracbo, that you know, and other when we expand into other things, we bring of course, and Andres on the cartoon
yeah,
side
yeah.
as well as Lou Guru, who's done a lot of the animation as well. But sort of the inner working nucleus is like us four, me, Frac, Pass, and Bo, keeping that push the ball forward for it,
I think you're right as well to keep the cartoons in the tuck until it makes sense to kind of use them to push the hype to the
Yeah.
next thing. So like as soon as you've got the
Mhm.
next thing ready, then it's like, all right, now
Yeah.
release one of these and then we're on to the next. Because it's like that's gonna
Yeah,
be
with the
the thing that
graphic
pushes it,
novel,
right?
we already have not only the characters designed and their whole sort of storylines and everything. It's like the story itself is outlined. Now it's just like going in and writing from point A to point Z, and I started a page or two and then was like, oh, I need to finish winter, and kind of made an excuse because it was kind of hard and it's a new skill set, to do it. But again, it's coming off the heels of winter is when I'm gonna knock that out, and then we'll have sort of a destination and something to work towards with the two cartoons we have tucked for sure.
Got you. I think so about winter. Let's talk about winter now because I've been waiting for winter for too fucking long. To be honest with you, it makes me angry. But I'm gonna pretend I'm not angry and just talk about it calmly. But so winter has been coming for quite a long fucking time. I'm not gonna lie. It is, however, going to be fucking incredible. I know that already. The prior albums to that were all really good and very different from each other in many ways, and I really like that. Like the concept of it being seasonal, I think is a really good idea, especially when you're gonna change things around in each one of them. I think it like gives you a good reason to change the style and whatnot. And I think now that you've like kind of grown again, I would imagine, as a human being, as everyone does over several years, I think like even again, it's going to be another like step in another direction that's a little different, especially from Like Dirt, which is coming out on Wednesday, by the way. So follow Illmac TV on Instagram, and you can see that shit. It does sound already like you've again added another little nuance to how you're putting stuff together. It doesn't sound like any of the other tracks that you've released necessarily. Like there's obviously things about it that do, but it's not. You never like seem to, in these albums especially, or like the things that are adjacent to them, you don't really seem to like be okay with just releasing the same style that you had in the previous one ever. How would you say that you like approach writing with winter in comparison to how you've approached writing with other stuff?
Well, winter is funny because winter is actually the reason I started the seasons concept was because before I put out Sprng, I had these group of songs that were more, emotional, life, love, just kind of deeper songs and melodic and all these things. And when I was just looking at the group of songs that I had, I didn't feel like taking, a hoodie season or whatever, and a joint on 808s and putting it next to, or trap type joint, and putting it next to a song like Sidewalk, which you'll hear eventually. It's on Winter, but is kind of more poetic, more heartfelt, more about a lot of the stuff that I was going through at the time. But I didn't know how to put it package it. And so I was like, I need to think of a concept where it gives me the space to sort of make my 808s and heartbreaks, or my divine feminine, you know, RIP Mac Miller, or
Hmm.
but to give me sort of like the freedom to put that together and have it be have it make sense and not just be out of left field or whatever the case is. So I thought, I was like, you know, thinking colors. I'm like, well, I did the green tape and red tape. I'm like, what other things can I do that'll give, you know, each project their own feel? And I thought of the seasons, and I was like, well, the album I want to make and where it started this is actually winter. That's going to sound like winter.
Hmm.
So, but I need to start with spring. So there's actually like a song on winter that's older than anything that was on than
Okay.
anything on spring. You know what I mean? Now we've updated it and done, you know, had beats redone, I've laid vocals or whatever, but the song is still the song that I made in 2017 or whatever, you know?
Okay. Cool.
18 maybe. But but it's still special, still powerful to me. So that was like the thinking of why the seasons in general started with winter.
Okay.
Now I haven't put out a project since, well, me and Geechee put out Free Butter, you know, which came about over the course of years. That's a different story.
Hmm.
But I haven't finished the series, and Autumn came out in what, 2022?
Yep.
2021, 2022. And so it's been 3 years since that came out. And during that 3 years, it's not like I haven't been making music.
Hmm.
I've made even more music than I was making then. But in doing it, I was really trying to expand my skill set, hone in on my writing more, hone in on my songwriting, song structure, um, how I use words, and being more effective, meaning like sometimes it's how can I've always been really wordy, and one thing I think about now is
Less is more.
saying more by saying less, you know?
I feel you.
Like I don't need to explain everything and be literal, da, da, da. Like this one poetic sentence can say the whole sum of what it took me a verse before.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the what has led me to what the current version of winter is just learning more about my craft and song making and songwriting in general and implementing it into it.
Hmm.
Uh, that being said, there's two versions of winter that I'm gonna be putting out. You know, there's the official winter,
Hmm.
which release date is coming, but I know when it's gonna be coming, and you're gonna get winter and summer. And then there's a follow up, which is like, you know, the deluxe, the director's cut. And the way that I've sort of structured that, I think to me is interesting, because with the songs I add that are going in the deluxe, it vastly changes the mood
Hmm.
of winter is going to be brighter. You're getting it in summer than you would think, right?
Yeah.
But the follow up is where, in the deluxe version, is where you're going to get it's going to be a totally different, it's the yin and yang in a way, you
Sad
know what
boy
I mean,
music.
with the song. It is, yeah.
So would you say that like
But
you've kind of been ready to release a while, and then but it's like, because it's the final part of this project that you have of the seasons thing, it's kind of like you don't want to like put it out and just be then disappointed that you ended it on a certain note when you kind of wanted to go in another direction, or you could have, or maybe like, you know, it like, obviously if you do the ones in the middle, like if you do spring or summer or whatever, it's a little bit more like there's more to go from there, right? But like if this is the final one, like I would imagine it's a little harder to like press that button to just go, all right, now this is done, you know?
yeah, I think that's been a big part, is like, how do I wrap this up? And I had all these ideas about incorporating, you know, the story we woven in it, and kind of I built it up in my head to it, with this pressure that it needed to be the masterpiece to finish this series. And I was making, also what didn't help is like making so much music that now when I sit down like last year and I'm like, all right, we're gonna pick the songs and put it out, it's like I'm looking at narrowing down 100 songs to 50 to 30, and then looking at that 30 and then taking months to pick, okay, 17. I'm like, I don't want it to be that many songs. And but being so attached, like ultimately what happened is I was like, because me and Chase both are so close to it, you know what I mean? Has like, this song's got to make it, and I'm like, no, that song, it doesn't fit in my vision, and but I can't commit to the songs that I do want. And ultimately what we did was we brought in somebody who had more objectivity, and shout out my boy Abi the Nomad,
Mm-hmm.
who's an incredible artist and one of my favorite artists and most listened to artists of, you know, in the last year plus. Amazing music, amazing musician. He We brought him in because he was already, me and him were already sort of talking online, and he would send me beats, and he remixed a couple songs, and then just started adding live guitar on that song, drum switch on that
Oh,
song, and kind of took on a you know, executive producer role in a lot of ways. And then when I had all these songs, and me and Chase are sort of debating, no, not that song, this one, and kind of can't come to consensus. It's like we have this third party whose ear and whose art we respect, and whose objective ear and point of view we trust.
yeah.
So, you know, we'd get on Zoom, and more recently in person, I linked with him. But and at one point I was just like, here's a group of songs, 17, what would you put out? You know what I mean? He's like, well, how many songs you want? And I was like, I don't know, man. And I was like, give me a track list with 8 songs, and give me a track list with 13, you know, or 12. And he sent what his idea, and I said, that one. All right, that's
Mm-hmm.
what we'll do. And then I'll put out an extended version where I incorporate some of these other songs that don't make that initial, you know, 8-song cut or whatever. And it worked out really well. And because I was, even at first, of course, I'm so close to it that when he sends it, I'm like, how come not this song? I would swap these. And I just told myself, like, you've had years to pick. You brought this person in because you trust their ear and everything. Just go with that. And
Yeah.
so he picked the songs and the order for Winter. And after actually getting used to it, I'm like, this is perfect. So I'm excited about that and that collaboration in general. He produced outright 2 songs on it, and also added sprinkles across the whole thing. And yeah, I'm really hyped to be working with me and Chase both, to have him involved with Winter as well.
Hell yeah. I saw a clip you posted of him yesterday, I think, on your story. And I've seen him before, but I really liked that clip. That clip was cool as fuck. The
He's
video where
so
it's like a
good.
silhouette thing, you know? That one?
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
so cool. I was
yeah.
I was like, this is
I think he
fucking
taught
awesome.
that too, because he does video and stuff too. He's super fire. Like,
Overall
yeah,
creative type of person. Yeah, he seems
yeah.
like that. Seems like that. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we already, I don't know if I'm saying too much, but let's just say I already have a project that's almost done for after Winter. And it was done right after the sick battle. Is we did like 11 joints, me and Abi
Hell
out
yeah.
there. And yeah, I can't wait to put Winter out, give it the push it deserves. I feel like I never played the social media game as much as I've been trying to do, more so since, you know, the Like Dirt announcement. Want to keep putting the gas on it.
Hmm.
uh but yeah, I mean, I'm excited to follow it up as well. And I don't want to disappear, put out Winter and disappear again. Like, I want to just keep consistent with releasing music and being present online you know, for my fans, for people who actually just care and listen to the music, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know what the fuck else to even talk about at this point. It's been a little while. That was a great episode. I enjoyed myself. Thank you for coming
Me
on,
too, man.
man.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. For
Appreciate
anyone
you.
that enjoyed this or is listening to this in the audio version in general, konr.work/DAM. And you can find all the previous episodes in general, including links to all of Illmac's stuff. And I'll also put some links to Chase and Abby the Nomad and Rap Off and things like that as well. You should go and support them, especially when his music comes out. You're going to love it. And you should go listen to his previous albums, Free Butter, Autumn, Summer, Spring. All those are good. All the old ones are good too. Go look at it. Illmac TV on Instagram as well. But yeah, fucking thank you very much for popping on, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, man. Winter is coming.
Winter is indeed coming. Thank you. Thank you.